They say a woman's wedding day is the happiest day of her life. They say she is supposed to feel like a princess. But as Adanna knelt on the cold marble floor of the Grand Seoul wedding hall, she didn't feel like a princess. She felt like a criminal. Champagne dripped from her hair, stinging her eyes. Her beautiful white dress, which she had chosen with so much love, was now stained and wet. But the stain on her dress was nothing compared to the pain in her heart. Standing over her was Min-jun. He was the man she had loved for 4 years. He was the man she was supposed to marry 5 minutes ago. Now he looked at her not with love, but with cold, hard ice in his eyes. He crossed his arms and looked down at her like she was a piece of trash on the street. "Did you really think I would marry you?" Min-jun asked. His voice echoed in the silent hall. "Look at you, Adanna. You don't belong here." His mother, Mrs. Kim, walked around Adanna in a circle. Her expensive hanbok rustled as she moved. She laughed, a cruel, sharp sound. "We have been laughing at you for months," she said. "We placed bets on how long it would take for you to realize you were just a joke." Adanna tried to stand up, but Min-jun's sister, Soyeon, pushed her back down. "Stay down," Soyeon hissed. "This is where you belong." 200 guests watched. Most of them were the elite of South Korea, business partners, rich families, and socialites. Some looked shocked, covering their mouths with their hands. But many of them were laughing. They were laughing at the black woman who thought she could marry into the powerful Kim family. Adanna looked up at Min-jun, tears mixing with the champagne on her face. "Min-jun, please," she whispered. "Why are you doing this?" Min-jun leaned down. "Because you were useful, Adanna. You were smart. You helped me pass university. You helped me fix my father's company strategies. But I don't need a tutor anymore. And I certainly don't need a wife who comes from nothing." The humiliation was unbearable. Adanna felt like the world was ending. She closed her eyes, wishing she could disappear. Before we find out what happens next, tell us in the comments where you are watching from. This is the most important aspect of this story. Never judge a book by its cover. To understand how this nightmare began, we have to go back 4 years. It started in the library of Seoul National University. It was late at night, and the library was mostly empty. Adanna sat at a corner table, surrounded by piles of books. She was studying international business and economics. Adanna was different. She wasn't just smart. She was a genius. She saw patterns in numbers that other people missed. She could look at a failing company and know exactly how to fix it in 5 minutes. She was on a full scholarship, and everyone knew her as the quiet, brilliant girl from Nigeria who studied harder than anyone else. "Excuse me," a voice said. Adanna looked up. Standing there was a handsome Korean student. He was holding 2 cups of coffee. He wore a jacket that probably cost more than Adanna's rent for the whole year. "I'm Min-jun," he said, flashing a charming smile. "I've been watching you." Adanna raised an eyebrow. "Watching me? I mean, I've seen you study." He quickly corrected himself. "You're in my macroeconomics class. You're the only one who nods when the professor talks about complex theories. The rest of us are just confused." He put a coffee down on her table. "I bought this for you. I need help. I'm failing this class, and my father will kill me if I don't get an A. Can you teach me?" Adanna hesitated. She came to Korea to learn, not to babysit rich boys. But there was something sad in his eyes, a pressure she understood. "Okay," she said. "Sit down." That night, Adanna didn't just teach him economics. She saved his grade. Min-jun was amazed. "You explain it better than the professor," he said, looking at her with wide eyes. "You're incredible, Adanna." They started meeting every day. Study sessions turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long walks by the Han River. Min-jun told her about his family, the Kim Corporation. He told her about the pressure of being the heir, how his father, Chairman Kim, expected perfection. "I feel like I'm drowning," Min-jun admitted one night, holding her hand. "But when I'm with you, everything makes sense. You make me smarter. You make me better." Adanna fell in love. She fell for his vulnerability. She fell for the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the world. She thought he loved her for her mind and her heart. She never told him the truth about herself. Min-jun thought Adanna was a poor scholarship student from a modest family in Nigeria. Adanna didn't correct him. She wanted to be loved for who she was, not for her money. Because the truth was, Adanna wasn't poor. Her father was Chief Obi, one of the wealthiest men in Africa. He owned oil refineries, telecommunications networks, and shipping lines across the globe. He was a billionaire many times over. But Adanna lived simply because she wanted to build her own life. 3 years into their relationship, Adanna video called her father from her small apartment in Seoul. "He's wonderful, Papa," Adanna said, her face glowing. "He listens to me. He respects my intelligence." Chief Obi looked at his daughter through the screen. He saw the small room, the cheap furniture, and the love in his daughter's eyes. "Does he know who you are, my daughter?" "No," Adanna said. "He thinks I'm just a student on a scholarship. And that's how I want it. I want to know he loves me." Chief Obi frowned. He was a man who knew how to read people. "Be careful, Adanna. Wealth and power make people do strange things. If he loves you for the right reasons, it won't matter. But I want to test him." "A test?" Adanna asked. "Trust me," Chief Obi said. "Don't tell him about the money yet. Let's see how he treats you when he thinks you have nothing." 6 months later, they graduated. Adanna wore her gown proudly. Her parents didn't come to the ceremony. Chief Obi said it was too risky. If someone took a photo of the famous African billionaire with his daughter, Min-jun would find out too soon. That night, Min-jun took Adanna to the Seoul Tower. The city lights sparkled below them like diamonds. "Adanna," Min-jun said. Getting down on one knee, he pulled out a ring. It was modest, not too flashy. "You are the secret to my success. I wouldn't have graduated without you. I wouldn't have impressed my father without your ideas. I want you by my side forever. Will you marry me?" Adanna cried tears of joy. "Yes, Min-jun. Yes." She thought it was a fairy tale. She didn't hear the specific words he used. "You are the secret to my success." He didn't say, "I can't live without you." He said he needed her. 2 weeks later, Min-jun took her to meet his family at their mansion in Gangnam. It was a huge, modern house with high walls. The dinner was a disaster. Min-jun's mother, Mrs. Kim, looked Adanna up and down with disgust. "So," she said, picking at her food, "you are the African girl Min-jun talks about. Do your parents live in a hut?" Adanna swallowed her anger. "My parents live in a house, Mrs. Kim. My father works in business, and my mother is a consultant." It was true, but a huge understatement. "Business?" Min-jun's sister, Soyeon, laughed. "What kind of business?" "Selling fruit on the roadside." The whole family laughed. Min-jun didn't defend her. He just smiled nervously and said, "Adanna is very smart, mother. She helped me restructure the logistics department's plan." Father liked the idea. Chairman Kim, a scary man with stone-cold eyes, looked up. "Is that true? The logistics plan was her idea?" "Yes, father," Min-jun said. Chairman Kim looked at Adanna with a new expression. It wasn't respect. It was calculation. He looked at her like she was a useful machine. "Fine," he grunted. "She can stay." That was how the engagement was approved. Not because they liked her, but because she was free labor for the company. As the wedding planning began, Adanna kept making excuses for her parents. "They are traveling," she said. "They will be there on the wedding day." While Adanna was picking flowers and trying to win over a mother-in-law who hated her, a secret meeting was happening in a high-rise office in downtown Seoul. Chairman Kim was sweating. The Kim Corporation was in trouble. They were drowning in debt. They needed a miracle. Then the phone rang. It was a representative of a mysterious global investor named William Bennett, the English name Chief Obi used for international business. "Mr. Kim," the voice said, "Mr. Bennett wants to meet. He has a proposition that could save your company. It is a deal worth $10 billion. Chairman Kim nearly fainted. $10 billion? It would make them the kings of Seoul. He rushed to the meeting. A tall, imposing black man sat at the head of the table, surrounded by bodyguards. It was Chief Obi, but Chairman Kim didn't know he was Adanna's father. "Mr. Kim," Chief Obi said. His voice was deep and powerful. "I am looking to consolidate my business in Asia. I need a partner. Your company has the infrastructure. We would be honored," Chairman Kim said, bowing low. "There is one condition," Chief Obi said calmly. "I have a daughter. She is 26. She is brilliant and beautiful. She saw a picture of your son, Min-jun, in the business files. She is interested in him." Chairman Kim froze. "My son?" "Yes," Chief Obi continued. "My daughter wants to meet him. She wants to marry a man from a respectable business family. If your son is available, we sign the $10 billion contract. If not, I will find another partner." Chairman Kim's mind raced. $10 billion. Or Adanna, the poor African girl who was smart but brought no money and shame to his elite friends. The choice was obvious. He rushed home and called Min-jun into his study. "You have to break up with Adanna," Chairman Kim ordered. "But father, the wedding is in 2 weeks," Min-jun said. "She is helping me with the merger plans." "Forget the merger plans," Chairman Kim shouted. "I just met with Mr. Bennett. He offers us $10 billion. But he wants you to marry his daughter." Min-jun's eyes went wide. $10 billion. Yes, but you must be single. You must prove you are done with that poor girl. "I can't just cancel the wedding," Min-jun said. "It will look bad." "No," Chairman Kim said, his eyes narrowing. "We don't just cancel it. We humiliate her. We make a public statement at the altar. We show Mr. Bennett and the world that you have realized your mistake. We show that you are too good for a peasant. If you dump her publicly, it proves you have standards. Then you are free to marry the heiress." Min-jun thought about it. He thought about Adanna, who helped him when he was failing. He thought about her kindness. Then he thought about $10 billion. He thought about being the most powerful man in Korea. "Okay," Min-jun said slowly. "I never really loved her anyway. I just loved that she made me look smart. I will do it." Chairman Kim smiled. He sent a message to Mr. Bennett. "My son is honored. He will handle his current situation definitively at the wedding ceremony. He looks forward to meeting your daughter immediately after." Chief Obi received the message. He read it. A tear rolled down his cheek for his daughter, but his face hardened into stone. "Understood," Chief Obi replied. "My daughter and I will attend the wedding to witness the resolution personally." Chairman Kim was thrilled. The billionaire was coming to the wedding. He thought it was to watch Min-jun prove his loyalty to the New Deal. He had no idea. The wedding day arrived. The cathedral was decorated with white roses. Adanna stood in the waiting room, her heart beating fast. Her parents had texted her, "We are here. We will meet you inside." She walked down the aisle alone. She looked at Min-jun. He looked handsome in his tuxedo, but he didn't smile. He looked at his watch. Adanna reached the altar. She reached for his hands. They were cold. The priest began to speak. "Actually, stop," Min-jun said loudly. The music stopped. The guests gasped. "I can't do this," Min-jun announced to the room. He turned to Adanna. "I can't marry you." "Min-jun," Adanna asked, confused. "Is this a joke?" "It's not a joke," he said, his voice dripping with venom. "I realized I can't tie myself to someone so low class. I have a future to think about, a big future, and you don't fit in it." That was when the nightmare started. His mother stood up and threw her glass of water. His sister poured the champagne. They laughed. They called her names. Gold digger, peasant, trash. Adanna fell to her knees, the white dress soaking up the dirty water and wine. She cried, looking at the man she trusted. "I only kept you around because you did my homework," Min-jun sneered, leaning down to whisper in her ear. "But now I have a real offer. A billionaire's daughter wants me. Why would I choose a burger when I can have steak?" He shoved her shoulder, knocking her completely to the floor. Get her out of here, Chairman Kim shouted. Security. Remove this trash so we can welcome our real guests. The guests were murmuring. Some were recording on their phones. It was the ultimate shame. Adanna felt her heart break into a million pieces. She wished the floor would open up and swallow her. But the floor didn't open. The doors did. Boom! The heavy oak doors of the cathedral slammed open against the walls. The sound was like a gunshot. Everyone turned around. The laughter died instantly. Standing in the doorway were two figures. A woman in an elegant, royal African gown, wearing diamonds that sparkled even in the dim light, and a man, the tall, powerful black man in a custom-made suit that cost more than the entire wedding venue. He was flanked by 10 bodyguards in dark sunglasses. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 20 degrees. Chairman Kim turned pale. He recognized the man. It was Mr. Bennett, the investor. Mr. Bennett! Chairman Kim shouted, trying to smile. He stepped over Adanna, who was still crying on the floor. Welcome. You are just in time. My son has just handled the trash. He is ready for your daughter. Min-jun straightened his tie, looking excited. Yes, welcome. I am Min-jun. I am ready to meet your daughter. The tall man didn't smile. He walked down the aisle. His steps were heavy and slow. Clack, clack, clack. He walked right past Chairman Kim. He walked right past Min-jun. He stopped in front of Adanna. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The powerful man knelt down on the wet floor, ruining his expensive suit pants. He reached out a gentle hand and touched Adanna's tear-stained face. Stand up, my princess, the man said softly. Adanna looked up, her eyes wide. Papa, Daddy. The words echoed through the hall. Min-jun froze. His mouth fell open. Daddy. Chairman Kim felt his knees go weak. Princess. Chief Obi helped Adanna stand up. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shaking shoulders. Then he turned around. The look on his face was terrifying. It was a look of pure, destructive rage. He looked at Min-jun. He looked at Chairman Kim. My name is Chief Obi, he boomed, his voice shaking the stained glass windows. And Adanna is not trash. Adanna is the billionaire heiress you were so desperate to marry. Min-jun's eyes bulged. He looked from the billionaire to the girl he had just shoved into the dirt. The realization hit him like a truck. You! Min-jun stammered. You are the daughter. Yes, Chief Obi said, stepping forward. And you just humiliated her. You just assaulted her. And you just lost everything. Chief Obi snapped his fingers. The bodyguard stepped forward, pulling out legal documents and phones. I want the Kim Corporation assets frozen. Chief Obi commanded his team loud enough for everyone to hear. I want their loans called in. I want their stock shorted. By the time I walk out of this door, I want this family to be worth zero. Chairman Kim clutched his chest, gasping for air. Min-jun looked at Adanna, begging with his eyes. Adanna, I didn't know. Please. Adanna wiped a tear from her cheek. She looked at the man she had loved, now looking small and pathetic. She didn't smile. She didn't scream. She just looked at him. You didn't know, Adanna whispered. And that is exactly why you don't deserve me. The silence in the cathedral was heavy, like a thick blanket. Just moments ago, the air was filled with cruel laughter and insults. Now, the only sound was the heavy breathing of Chairman Kim and the soft click-clack of cameras. Adanna stood wrapped in her father's large suit jacket. It smelled like sandalwood and safety. She looked at the people who had tormented her. Mrs. Kim, who had thrown water on her, was now trembling. Her expensive makeup was starting to run down her face because she was sweating with fear. Soyeon, the sister who had pushed Adanna down, was hiding behind a flower arrangement, trying to make herself invisible. And Min-jun, the man Adanna had loved for 4 years, looked like a lost child. He was staring at Chief Obi, the man he thought was Mr. Bennett, with his mouth hanging open. Mr. Bennett, I mean, sir. Min-jun stuttered. He took a step forward, his hands shaking. Please, you have to understand. This was a test. Adanna's eyes went wide. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. A test? Chief Obi asked. His voice was deep and calm, which made it even scarier. Yes, Min-jun said, a desperate smile forming on his face. He looked at Adanna. Adanna, baby, you know how much I love you. I had to see if you were strong enough to be a CEO's wife. I had to see if you could handle pressure. I was acting. It was all a performance. He reached out to grab Adanna's hand. Whack. One of Chief Obi's bodyguards stepped in. He didn't hit Min-jun hard, just a sharp slap to the hand that sent Min-jun stumbling back. Do not touch her, the bodyguard growled. You are a liar, Adanna said. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. I saw your eyes, Min-jun, when you pushed me, when you whispered that I was trash. That wasn't a test. That was you. No, no, no. Min-jun fell to his knees. He crawled toward Chief Obi's shiny shoes. Sir, please, don't freeze our assets. Don't ruin us. We are family. I am your son-in-law. Chief Obi looked down at Min-jun like he was looking at a bug he didn't want to step on because it would dirty his shoe. You are nothing to me, Chief Obi said. Then a phone rang. It was Chairman Kim's phone. It rang loud and shrill in the quiet hall. Chairman Kim pulled it out of his pocket with shaking hands. He looked at the screen. It was his vice president. He answered it on speakerphone by accident because his fingers were trembling so much. Chairman! The voice on the phone screamed. What is happening? Our stocks. They are crashing. Someone is shorting everything. The banks just called. They are freezing the credit lines. Our partners are pulling out. We are losing millions every second. Chairman, we are ruined. Chairman Kim dropped the phone. It hit the marble floor and cracked, but the voice kept screaming. Chairman, are you there? The workers are walking out. It's over. Chairman Kim looked up at Chief Obi. The arrogant, scary man who had ruled Seoul's business world was gone. In his place was a terrified old man. You, Chairman Kim whispered. You did this in 5 minutes. I told you, Chief Obi said, adjusting his cuffs. I am not a man who makes empty threats. You messed with the wrong family. Suddenly, Mrs. Kim screamed. She ran forward and grabbed Adanna's skirt. Adanna, daughter, she wailed. I am sorry. I was confused. You know I always liked you. I said those mean things because I was stressed. Please, tell your father to stop. We will lose our house. We will be on the street. Adanna looked down at the woman who had asked if her parents lived in a hut. You didn't like me, Mrs. Kim, Adanna said coldly. You called me a peasant. You laughed when your daughter poured champagne on me. Adanna pulled her skirt away from Mrs. Kim's grip. You kept asking if I was from the jungle. Well, welcome to the food chain. You are no longer at the top. The guests were now whispering excitedly. Phones were raised high. They were live-streaming everything. The humiliation of the Kim family was being broadcast to the whole world. Comments were flying in on social media. Wow, karma is real. That's the African billionaire Chief Obi. They messed up big time. Look at Min-jun crying. Pathetic. Min-jun saw the phones. He realized his reputation was destroyed. He realized the money was gone. The $10 billion was a fantasy. His fear turned into anger. He jumped up from the floor. His face turned red and ugly. He pointed a finger at Adanna. This is your fault, he screamed. You lied to me. You tricked me. If you had told me you were rich, none of this would have happened. You set me up. I set you up? Adanna asked, stepping closer to him. She wasn't afraid anymore. I gave you a chance to love me for me. A chance to be a good man. You failed, Min-jun. You failed the test. You witch, Min-jun yelled. He lunged at her, his hands reaching for her neck. He wanted to hurt her. He wanted to wipe that calm look off her face. But he never reached her. Chief Obi didn't even move. 2 bodyguards moved like lightning. One grabbed Min-jun's arm, twisting it behind his back until a loud snap echoed in the hall. The other swept his legs. Min-jun slammed face first into the marble floor. Ag! Min-jun screamed, clutching his broken arm. That is assault, Chief Obi said calmly. And attempted assault on my daughter. Sirens wailed outside. Blue and red lights flashed through the stained glass windows. The police burst into the cathedral. But these weren't just regular patrol officers. These were high-ranking detectives. Chief Obi had made more than one call. Arrest them. Chief Obi pointed to the Kim family. For fraud, conspiracy to commit assault, and physical battery. The police moved in. They grabbed Chairman Kim, who was crying. They grabbed Mrs. Kim, who was screaming about her designer dress. They grabbed Soyeon, and they hauled Min-jun up from the floor. His nose was bleeding, and his arm hung at a weird angle. As the police dragged Min-jun past Adanna, he looked at her one last time. His eyes were wild. You think you won? Min-jun spat blood on the floor. You think this is over? My father didn't just borrow money from banks. Adanna, he borrowed from the Vipers. If we don't pay them back by midnight, we are dead. And now that you destroyed the company, they will come for you too. Adanna frowned. The Vipers. Chairman Kim heard this and started thrashing in the policeman's grip. Shut up, you idiot. Shut up. No. Min-jun screamed, laughing like a madman. We are going down, but you are coming with us. They are watching. They are outside right now. Chief Obi narrowed his eyes. He signaled his head of security. Check the perimeter. The police dragged the screaming Kim family out of the grand doors. The guests were asked to leave. Adanna stood alone with her father in the empty church. The ruined flowers and the wet floor were the only signs of the wedding that never happened. Papa, Adanna said, her voice shaking slightly. What did he mean? Who are the Vipers? Chief Obi hugged her tight. It doesn't matter. They are just trying to scare you. You are safe with me. Let's go home. They walked out of the cathedral. The sun was setting, painting the sky in blood-red colors. A long line of black limousines waited for them. Adanna took a deep breath of fresh air. She felt free. The weight of the Kim family's judgment was gone. But as she stepped toward the car, she noticed something. Across the street, parked in the shadows of an alleyway, was a black van. The windows were heavily tinted. It wasn't a police van. It wasn't one of her father's cars. As Adanna watched, the window of the van rolled down just an inch. She saw a pair of eyes watching her. Cold, reptilian eyes. And on the hand resting on the window frame, there was a tattoo of a green snake with two heads. Min-jun wasn't lying. Suddenly, a loud screech of tires erupted from the corner. 3 black motorcycles sped around the block, heading straight for Adanna and Chief Obi. The riders were wearing black helmets and carrying metal bats. Get down! The head bodyguard screamed. Chief Obi pushed Adanna behind him. Security! Protect the girl! The peaceful evening shattered into chaos. The Vipers had come to collect their debt, and they didn't care who paid it. The world turned into noise and chaos. Vroom! The engines of the black motorcycles roared like hungry lions. There were 3 of them, speeding down the street straight toward Adanna and Chief Obi. The riders wore black helmets with tinted visors, so they looked like faceless robots. They held metal baseball bats in their hands, dragging them on the pavement. Sparks flew like fireworks. Move! The head bodyguard, a giant man named Tund, shouted. He grabbed Adanna and Chief Obi and shoved them toward the open door of the armored limousine. Smash! The first biker reached them. He swung his metal bat and hit the side mirror of the limo. The mirror exploded into plastic and glass dust. Adanna screamed, covering her head. Get inside! Go, go, go! Chief Obi yelled. He didn't look like a businessman anymore. He looked like a warrior. He pushed Adanna into the leather seat and jumped in after her. Tund didn't get in. He stood outside the door. He pulled out a baton that extended with a snap. As the second biker tried to swing at the open door, Tund ducked. He swung his baton and hit the biker in the chest. The biker flew off the motorcycle and crashed into a pile of trash cans. Drive! Tund shouted to the driver as he jumped into the front seat. The driver slammed his foot on the gas pedal. The heavy limousine tires screeched against the asphalt. The car shot forward like a rocket. But the Vipers were not giving up. Adanna looked out the back window. The two remaining motorcycles were chasing them. They were weaving through traffic, ignoring red lights. "Papa! They are following us!" Adanna cried. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. She was still wearing the jacket over her ruined wedding dress. "Don't look, Adanna," Chief Obi said. His face was stone cold. He pressed a button on the armrest, and a black partition slid up, covering the back window. "You are safe now. This car is bulletproof. It is bomb-proof," Min-jun said. Adanna's voice trembled. "He said they are called the Vipers. He said they owe them money." Chief Obi took a deep breath. He picked up the secure phone in the car. "Code red," he said into the phone. "We have a tail. 2 hostiles on bikes. Take them out. Do not let them follow us to the safe house." Adanna heard a thump-thump sound. The car swerved sharply to the left, then to the right. She heard a loud crash outside, like metal hitting concrete, and then the sound of engines faded away. "Target neutralized." Tun's voice came over the intercom. "We are clear, Chief." Chief Obi hung up the phone. He looked at his daughter. He saw the champagne stains on her dress, the dirt on her knees, and the terror in her eyes. His heart broke. "I am sorry, my princess," he said softly. "I thought destroying his company would be enough. I didn't know he was involved with them." "Who are they, Papa?" Adanna asked. "Who are the Vipers?" Chief Obi sighed. "Seoul is a bright city, Adanna. But every bright city has a dark shadow. The Vipers are a criminal gang. They lend money to desperate businessmen who can't get loans from banks. But their interest rates are deadly. If you borrow 1 million, you owe them 10 million next week." Adanna gasped. "Min-jun's father borrowed from them?" "It seems so," Chief Obi said. "The Kim Corporation was failing long before you met Min-jun. They must have borrowed from the Vipers to keep up appearances, to look rich. And now," Adanna whispered, realizing the horror, "now that you destroyed the company, they can't pay back the money." "Exactly," Chief Obi said grimly. "And the Vipers don't care about excuses. They want their money or they want blood." The limousine drove for 30 minutes until it reached the most expensive district in Seoul. They drove into an underground garage of a tall glass skyscraper. The gate was heavy steel. Security guards with dogs checked the car before letting them in. This was the penthouse. It was Chief Obi's secret home in Korea. They took a private elevator to the 50th floor. The doors opened into a massive apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows. You could see the whole city, sparkling and beautiful. But tonight, the city looked scary to Adanna. "Go wash up, Adanna," Chief Obi said gently. "There are clothes in the master closet. Tund will stand guard at the door. No one can get in here. It is a fortress." Adanna nodded weakly. She went into the bathroom. It was huge with white marble everywhere. She looked at herself in the mirror. She looked like a ghost. Her mascara was running down her cheeks. Her hair was messy. Her white dress was ruined. She turned on the shower. She scrubbed her skin until it was red. She wanted to wash away the champagne. She wanted to wash away Min-jun's touch. She wanted to wash away the last 4 years. She put on a soft gray tracksuit she found in the closet. It was too big for her, but it was warm. When she came out to the living room, Chief Obi was watching the news on a giant TV. He was holding a glass of water, but he wasn't drinking. "Look," Chief Obi said, pointing at the screen. The news anchor looked serious. A headline flashed in bold red letters. "Wedding disaster. Kim family arrested." The screen showed footage from the cathedral. It showed Chairman Kim crying as police shoved him into a car. It showed Min-jun with his broken arm, screaming at the cameras. In a shocking turn of events, the news anchor said, "The Kim Corporation has declared bankruptcy. Allegations of fraud and assault against the daughter of African oil tycoon Chief Obi have rocked the business world." Adanna felt a little bit of satisfaction. They deserved it. But then the news anchor touched her earpiece. Her face turned pale. "Breaking news," the anchor said, her voice shaking. We are receiving reports of an incident during the prisoner transport. The police van carrying Min-jun Kim has been intercepted. Adanna's heart stopped. The screen changed to a shaky video filmed by a bystander on a highway. A police van was flipped over on its side. Smoke was rising from the engine. 2 black SUVs were parked next to it. Men in masks were dragging someone out of the back of the van. It was Min-jun. He was kicking and screaming. "No! Help me! Police!" One of the masked men hit Min-jun in the stomach. They threw him into the black SUV and sped away. The news anchor came back on screen. Min-jun Kim has been kidnapped by unknown assailants. Police are launching a citywide manhunt. Chief Obi turned off the TV. The room fell silent. "The Vipers," Adanna whispered. "They took him. They didn't want him in jail," Chief Obi said. "In jail he is safe. They want him where they can hurt him. They want their money." Suddenly, Adanna's phone buzzed. It was her old phone. The one Min-jun had given her when they first started dating. She had kept it in her pocket. She pulled it out. It was a text message from an unknown number. There were no words, just a video file. "Papa," Adanna said, her hands shaking. "Look." Chief Obi took the phone. He pressed play. The video was dark. It looked like it was filmed in a basement. Min-jun was tied to a chair. His face was bruised and bloody. He was crying. "Adanna!" Min-jun sobbed into the camera. "Adanna, please, tell your father to pay them. They are going to cut off my fingers. Please, I beg you. I loved you. I swear I loved you." A hand reached into the frame. The hand had a tattoo of a green snake with 2 heads. The hand grabbed Min-jun's hair and pulled his head back. A distorted voice spoke from behind the camera. It sounded like a robot. "Hello, princess. You ruined our payday. The Kim family owes us $50 million. Since you destroyed their company, they can't pay. So now the debt is yours." The camera zoomed in on Min-jun's terrified eyes. "You have 24 hours, the voice said. "Bring $50 million in cash to the old shipyard at Incheon. If you don't, we will send you your ex-fiancé in tiny boxes." The video didn't end there. The voice continued. "And Adanna, don't think you are safe in your high tower. We know where you are. We know everything. Look out the window." The video ended. Adanna dropped the phone. She ran to the window. "Adanna, stay back," Chief Obi shouted. But she looked. Down on the street, 50 floors below, standing under a street lamp, was a figure. He was wearing a black hoodie. He looked up at the penthouse. He raised his hand and pointed a finger at her. Then he made a shape with his hand, a gun. Bang! He vanished into the shadows. "They know we are here," Adanna gasped. She backed away from the window, breathing hard. "Papa, we are not safe. How did they find us?" Chief Obi's face was dark with fury. He grabbed his walkie-talkie. "Tund, we have been compromised. How did they find this location? This implies a leak." Tund's voice crackled back. "Chief, the security system is acting strange. The cameras on the east side just went offline." "What?" Chief Obi growled. "Reboot the system." "I can't," Tund shouted. "Someone is hacking us. The elevators are moving. They are coming up." Panic filled the room. The impenetrable fortress was breached. "Adanna, get into the panic room," Chief Obi ordered. He pulled a golden handgun from a hidden compartment in the wall. "Now! I'm not leaving you," Adanna cried. "Go!" Chief Obi roared. Suddenly, the lights in the penthouse flickered and died. The room was plunged into total darkness. The only light came from the city outside. Click. The electronic lock on the front door beeped green. The door slowly creaked open. Adanna held her breath. She stood behind the sofa, watching the door. Chief Obi aimed his gun. A small object rolled into the room. It was a metal ball. It spun on the floor, making a hissing sound. "SSSSSSSSSS. Gas!" Chief Obi shouted. "Cover your mouth." White smoke exploded from the ball, filling the room instantly. Adanna coughed. Her eyes burned. She couldn't see anything. "Papa?" she called out. "Papa!" She heard the sound of fighting. Grunts. The sound of fists hitting flesh. A gunshot fired bang and shattered a vase. "Run, Adanna!" Chief Obi's voice sounded far away. Adanna stumbled through the smoke, trying to find the panic room. But she was dizzy. The gas was making her legs weak. She fell to her knees on the thick carpet. She saw a pair of black combat boots step in front of her. She looked up. Standing over her was a man in a tactical mask. The mask had a painting on it, a smiling snake mouth. "Found you, princess," the man said. He reached down and grabbed her arm. Adanna screamed, but the gas took her voice away. Her vision went black. The last thing she heard was her father shouting her name, and then silence. Cold, salty water splashed onto Adanna's face. She gasped, choking and coughing as she woke up. Her head felt like it was splitting open. Her eyes burned from the gas. She tried to wipe the water from her face, but her hands wouldn't move. She looked down. Her wrists were tied to a rusty metal chair with thick plastic zip ties. The plastic dug into her skin. "She is awake," a deep voice said. Adanna looked up. She was in a nightmare. She was in a giant, abandoned warehouse. The ceiling was high and full of holes. Moonlight shined through the holes, illuminating dust and old machines. It smelled like rotten fish, gasoline, and old blood. This was the old shipyard at Incheon, the place from the video. "Welcome to the party, princess," the voice said. Standing in front of her was the man from the penthouse. He was still wearing the tactical mask with the painted smile. But now she could see his eyes. They were dead eyes, like a shark's. He was holding a metal bucket, which he had just used to wake her up. "Where is my father?" Adanna screamed. "If you hurt him, your father is alive," the masked man said, laughing. "For now. He is a tough old lion. He managed to shoot 2 of my men before we escaped with you. But he cannot find you here. No one can." A low moaning sound came from beside her. Adanna turned her head. Tied to a chair next to her was Min-jun. He looked terrible. His expensive tuxedo was ripped to shreds. His face was purple and swollen. One of his eyes was swollen shut. He was shivering uncontrollably. "Adanna?" Min-jun whispered through cracked lips. You are here?" "Min-jun," Adanna said, feeling a mix of pity and disgust. "This is your fault." Min-jun suddenly screamed, straining against his ropes. "You brought them here. You destroyed my family, and now you got us kidnapped." "I didn't borrow money from criminals, Min-jun," Adanna shouted back. "Your father did. This is your debt." "Shut up." The masked man swung his hand and slapped Min-jun across the face. Smack! Min-jun cried out and slumped back in his chair, sobbing like a baby. "Please, I want to go home. My arm hurts." The masked man grabbed a wooden crate and sat down in front of them. He pulled off his mask. Adanna gasped. The man's face was covered in scars. A long, jagged scar ran from his mouth to his ear, making it look like he was always smiling. That was why they called him the Viper. "My name is Kong," the man said. "But you can call me sir. Your father, Chairman Kim, borrowed $50 million from my organization to build a hotel that never opened. He promised to pay us back after your wedding to the rich Nigerian girl. He thought your father's money would cover his debt." Adanna looked at Min-jun in horror. "You knew? You knew your father was using me to pay off a gang." Min-jun looked down, avoiding her eyes. I thought it was just a bank loan. I didn't know it was them." "Liar," Kong said. "Min-jun knew everything. He even suggested we threaten you if the wedding didn't work out." Adanna felt sick. The man she had loved wasn't just a cheater and a gold digger. He was a monster. He had planned to use her money to pay off killers. "But now," Kong continued, pulling out a long, sharp knife. He began to clean his fingernails with it. "The wedding is cancelled. The Kim Corporation is worth 0. So, I need a new way to get my money." Kong stood up and walked over to Adanna. He placed the cold blade of the knife against her cheek. "Your father, Chief Obi, has the money," Kong whispered. "I sent him a message. I told him to bring $50 million in cash to the docks in 1 hour. If he is late, I will start sending him pieces of you." Meanwhile, in the penthouse, Chief Obi was not waiting. He sat in the center of the ruined living room. The smoke had cleared, but the smell of gunpowder was heavy. Tund, his head bodyguard, was sitting on the floor, a medic bandaging a gunshot wound in his shoulder. "I failed you, Chief," Tund grunted, grimacing in pain. "I let them take her." "You fought brave, Tund," Chief Obi said. His voice was terrifyingly calm. He wasn't yelling. He was focused. "Rest now." Chief Obi walked to a large painting on the wall. He pressed a hidden button on the frame. The painting slid open, revealing a steel safe. He scanned his eye. Beep. The safe opened. Inside, there was no money. There were weapons. Chief Obi pulled out a black tactical vest and strapped it over his suit. He pulled out 2 silver handguns and checked the magazines. Click-clack. He pulled out a satellite phone. He dialed a number. "This is Chief," he said into the phone. "Activate the lions." Nothing happened. The gun was empty. Min-jun opened his eyes, confused. He pulled the trigger again. Click, click. No bullets. Min-jun whimpered. Kong burst into laughter. The other gang members laughed too. "You thought I would give a loaded gun to a prisoner? You are an idiot." Kong walked over and snatched the gun from Min-jun's hand. He pistol-whipped Min-jun across the face. Crack. Min-jun fell to the floor, unconscious. "But now I know," Kong said, looking at Adanna. "He would kill you to save a fingernail. You truly have terrible taste in men, princess." Adanna stared at Min-jun's body. Her heart was hard as stone. The last tiny piece of love she had for him was gone. "Boss!" A guard shouted from the catwalk above. "We have movement outside. A car is approaching." Kong grabbed Adanna by her hair and pulled her up. He dragged her toward the large metal doors of the warehouse. "Daddy is here," Kong hissed in her ear. "Let's go say hello." The huge metal doors groaned as they slid open. Outside, the shipyard was dark and foggy. A single car sat in the middle of the open concrete space. It was a black sedan. Chief Obi stood alone in front of the car. He was holding a large silver briefcase. He looked small against the giant cranes and shipping containers. "I brought the money," Chief Obi shouted. His voice echoed in the fog. 50 million. Unmarked bills. "Let her go." Kong dragged Adanna out into the open. He put the loaded gun to her temple. He used her as a human shield. "Kick the case over to me," Kong shouted. "Open it first." Chief Obi kicked the case. It slid across the concrete and stopped 10 feet away from Kong. The lid popped open. It was full of stacks of $100 bills. "Beautiful," Kong smiled. "Go get it," he signaled one of his men. As the thug ran to grab the money, Chief Obi looked at Adanna. He didn't look scared. He looked ready. He tapped his ear. Suddenly, the red laser dots appeared. One on Kang's chest. One on the thug's head. One on the sniper in the rafters. Dozens of red dots appeared out of the fog, aiming at the Vipers. "You brought friends," Kong growled, tightening his grip on Adanna. He pressed the gun harder into her skull. "Bad move, Chief. I will blow her brains out before your snipers can take the shot." "I don't think so," Chief Obi said calmly. "Why?" Kong sneered. "Because," Chief Obi said, pointing up. "You forgot to look at the sky." A deafening roaring sound filled the air. A blinding spotlight turned on from above, burning through the fog. A black military helicopter rose up from behind the shipping containers, its rotor blades whipping the air into a frenzy. A minigun spun up on the side of the helicopter. "Whir! Drop the weapon!" A voice boomed from the helicopter loudspeaker. "Or be neutralized." Kong looked up at the helicopter. He looked at the snipers. He looked at the money. He knew he couldn't win. But Kong was a Viper, and Vipers bite before they die. "If I die," Kong screamed, his eyes filled with madness. She dies with me. He moved his finger to the trigger. Adanna saw it in his eyes. He was going to shoot. She did the only thing she could think of. She stomped her heel down as hard as she could onto Kang's foot. Kang howled in pain and his grip loosened for a split second. Bang! A gunshot rang out. Adanna felt hot blood splash onto her face. She fell to the ground. The world went silent. Adanna lay on the cold concrete. She was afraid to open her eyes. Was she shot? Was she dead? Adanna! She heard her father screaming. She opened her eyes. Kang was lying next to her. There was a hole in his forehead. He was dead. But across the concrete another body lay still. It wasn't a viper. It was Min-jun. He had woken up. He had stumbled out of the warehouse just as the chaos started. When Kang raised his gun to shoot Adanna, Min-jun had run forward. Not to save her, but to run toward the briefcase of money. He had run right into the line of fire. Chief Obi ran to Adanna and pulled her into his arms. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? I'm okay, Papa. Adanna cried, shaking. She looked at Min-jun. He was gasping for air. He had been shot in the chest. He was reaching his hand out, not to Adanna, but toward the spilled money on the ground. His fingers brushed a $100 bill. Mine, Min-jun whispered. My money. His hand went limp. His eyes stared blankly at the sky. Min-jun was dead. Adanna buried her face in her father's chest. It was over. The Vipers were dead or captured. Min-jun was gone. But as Chief Obi helped her stand up, Tund ran over from the helicopter. He looked worried. Chief, Tund shouted. We have a problem. What now? Chief Obi asked, wiping blood from his face. We hacked Kang's phone, Tund said, holding up a cracked device. He wasn't the boss. He was just a soldier. What? Adanna asked. Who is the boss? We found a text message sent 10 minutes ago, Tund said. It says, did you kill the girl yet? The African king must suffer. Chief Obi grabbed the phone. Who sent it? The number is blocked, Tund said. But the location signal? It is coming from Nigeria. Adanna froze. Nigeria? But who in Nigeria wants to kill us? Chief Obi looked at the phone. His face turned pale, paler than Adanna had ever seen. He recognized the code name on the screen. The Black Mamba. No, Chief Obi whispered. It can't be. He has been in prison for 20 years. Who is the Black Mamba, Papa? Adanna asked, terrified. Chief Obi looked at his daughter. He is not just a criminal, Adanna, Chief Obi said, his voice trembling. He is my brother, your uncle, and he is coming for us. The flight from Seoul to Lagos was long and silent. Adanna sat in the leather seat of her father's private jet, staring out at the clouds. She washed the blood off her face, but she couldn't wash the memory of Min-jun's death from her mind. He had died chasing money. It was a pathetic end for a man who claimed to love her. Eat, Adanna, Chief Obi said gently, placing a plate of jollof rice in front of her. You need strength. I'm not hungry, Papa, Adanna whispered. Tell me about him. Tell me about the Black Mamba. Chief Obi sighed. He looked older than he did yesterday. The fight at the shipyard had drained him. His name is Jide, Chief Obi said. He is my younger brother. 20 years ago, when our father died, he left the family business to me because Jide was wild, cruel. Jide didn't accept it. He tried to sabotage our oil refineries. He stole millions to fund criminal gangs. I had no choice. I turned him in to the police. He has been in prison all this time? Adanna asked. He was released 2 weeks ago, Chief Obi said grimly. I didn't know. He must have used his old connections to find out about your wedding. He saw an opportunity. He used the Kim family's debt to the Vipers as a way to get to us. He wants the money? He doesn't just want money, Adanna, Chief Obi said, looking into her eyes. He wants the throne. He wants to kill me and take everything. He thinks I am soft. He thinks I have become a weak businessman living in penthouses. Adanna looked at her hands. They were shaking. And what does he think about me? He thinks you are just a girl, Chief Obi said. He thinks you are a liability, a weakness. Adanna's eyes narrowed. She remembered the humiliation at the wedding. She remembered Min-jun calling her trash. She remembered Kong holding a knife to her face. Everyone thought she was weak. Everyone thought she was just a victim. He is wrong, Adanna said. Her voice was steady for the first time in days. The jet landed in Lagos under the cover of darkness. The heat of Nigeria hit them as soon as the doors opened. It was a humid, heavy heat. A convoy of armored SUVs was waiting on the tarmac. Tund, who had refused to stay in the hospital in Korea, was there with his arm in a sling, barking orders at a new team of security guards. "Welcome home, Chief," Tund said. "We have secured the compound." But what?" Chief Obi asked. "He knows we are here," Tund said. "A package was delivered to the main gate 1 hour ago." Tund handed Chief Obi a small wooden box. Chief Obi opened it. Inside was a single dead white rose, the same flower from Adanna's wedding. There was a note: "Come to the old foundry at midnight, alone, or I burn the city down." "The old foundry," Chief Obi said. "It is where our father started the business 50 years ago. It is abandoned now." "It's a trap, Papa," Adanna said. "I know," Chief Obi said. He checked his gun. "But I have to go. I have to end this." "Tund, keep Adanna safe in the bunker." "No," Adanna said. Chief Obi turned. "Adanna, this is not a negotiation. It is war." "I am tired of hiding, Papa," Adanna said. She stood up straighter. She didn't look like the crying bride anymore. She looked like the daughter of a lion. "You said he thinks I am a weakness. If you go alone, he will expect it. He will have a trap set just for you. But if we change the game, if we give him something he doesn't expect—" "What are you thinking?" Chief Obi asked, seeing a spark in her eyes that reminded him of himself. "He wants the Obi Empire, right?" Adanna asked. "He wants access to the accounts, the codes, the network." "Yes, I know the codes," Adanna said. "I helped you design the security system last summer. Remember? I am good with numbers, Papa. I am good with strategy." Adanna walked over to the laptop on the jet's desk. She started typing furiously. "Let's go to the foundry," Adanna said. "But let's not bring guns alone. Let's bring him a Trojan horse." Midnight. The old foundry. It was a massive, rusting skeleton of a factory. Moonlight shone through the broken roof beams. Shadows stretched long and scary across the floor. Chief Obi walked into the center of the foundry. He held his hands up. He was unarmed. "I am here, Jide," Chief Obi shouted. "Come out." High above, on a metal walkway, a slow clap echoed. Clap, clap, clap. A man stepped out of the shadows. He looked like Chief Obi, but twisted. His face was gaunt, his eyes wild and hungry. He wore a ragged suit that looked like it was 20 years old. "Brother," Jide hissed, "you look fat. Success has made you soft. And prison has made you ugly," Chief Obi replied calm. "It is over, Jide. Min-jun is dead. Kong is dead. You have no soldiers left." "I don't need soldiers," Jide smiled. He pressed a button on a remote control in his hand. Boom! Explosions rocked the foundry entrance. A ring of fire erupted around Chief Obi, trapping him in a circle of flames. "I rigged this whole place with C4, Jide laughed. "One more button and we all turn to ash. But don't worry, big brother. I don't want to kill you yet. I want the transfer." Jide threw a tablet down to Chief Obi. "Transfer the ownership of Obi Group to me," Jide ordered. "Biometric scan. Now, do it and I let you live. Refuse and you burn." Chief Obi looked at the tablet. He looked at the fire closing in. "You won't kill me," Chief Obi said. "You want the power too much. Try me," Jide screamed. His hand shook over the detonator button. "I have nothing to lose. You took my life. Now give it back." "He can't give it back," a voice called out from the darkness. Jide spun around. "Who is there?" Adanna stepped out from behind a rusted pillar. She was wearing black tactical gear. She held a phone in her hand. Adanna, I told you to stay in the car, Chief Obi shouted. A billionaire heiress doesn't stay in the car, Adanna said calmly. She looked up at her uncle. Hello, Uncle Jide. I heard you missed my wedding. The little princess, Jide sneered. Did you come to die with Daddy? No, Adanna said. I came to tell you that you are broke. What? Jide laughed. I have millions stashed away. Not anymore, Adanna said, tapping her phone screen. While you were busy setting up bombs, I accessed your offshore accounts. You used the same routing number Kong used to message us. It was a sloppy mistake. Jide's eyes went wide. He pulled out his own phone. He checked his bank app. Balance, $0. What did you do? Jide screamed. I donated it, Adanna smiled, to the orphanage in Seoul, in memory of Min-jun. I thought it was fitting. You witch, Jide roared. I will kill you. He aimed the detonator at them. I will blow us all to hell. You can't, Adanna said. Look at the detonator. Jide looked down. The red light on the remote was blinking off. I jammed the signal, Adanna said. Papa isn't the only one who hires smart people. Tund deployed a localized jammer 2 minutes ago. Jide frantically pressed the button. Click, click, click. Nothing happened. The fire around Chief Obi began to die down. The gas line had been cut by Tund's team outside. No! Jide screamed. He threw the remote away and pulled out a gun. He aimed at Adanna. If I can't have the money, I will take his heart. Bang! A gunshot rang out. Adanna didn't fall. Jide dropped his gun. He looked down at his shoulder. A red flower of blood was blooming there. He looked up. Chief Obi was holding his silver pistol. He had shot the gun right out of Jide's hand. It is over, brother, Chief Obi said sadly. Kill me, Jide yelled, falling to his knees. Finish it, like you should have 20 years ago. No, Chief Obi said. He walked through the dying flames toward his brother. That is the difference between us. I am not a killer. I am a builder. Sirens wailed in the distance. The Nigerian police, the real ones, led by the commissioner, were surrounding the building. Tund and his team rappelled down from the roof, surrounding Jide. They handcuffed him. Jide spat at Chief Obi's feet. You are weak. Your daughter is weak. Chief Obi put his arm around Adanna. He looked at her with so much pride it could light up the night. My daughter, Chief Obi said, just disarmed a bomb, bankrupt a warlord, and saved my life without firing a single shot. If that is weak, then I do not want to be strong. The police dragged Jide away, screaming into the night. 1 month later, the sun was shining over the beautiful city of Abuja. Adanna stood in front of a massive glass building. The sign on the front read, OBI and Daughter International. She wasn't wearing a wedding dress. She wasn't wearing rags. She was wearing a sharp, tailored business suit. Her head was held high. Are you ready, Madam President? Tund asked. He was wearing a new suit, standing by the door. I am ready, Tund, Adanna smiled. She walked into the boardroom. 20 men in expensive suits stood up. These were the board members. They looked at her with respect. Some looked with fear. They had heard the stories. They knew what happened to the last people who underestimated her. Chief Obi sat at the head of the table. He stood up and offered her his chair. This is your seat now, Adanna, Chief Obi said. I am retiring. I want to go fishing. But Papa, Adanna said. The company needs a new vision, Chief Obi said. It needs someone who knows that strength isn't just about money. It is about resilience. It is about surviving the fire. Adanna looked at the empty chair. She thought about the girl kneeling on the cathedral floor, crying over a man who didn't love her. That girl was gone. She had burned in the fire, and a new woman had risen from the ashes. She sat down at the head of the table. Gentlemen, Adanna said, her voice clear and powerful. Let's get to work. Adanna never married. She didn't need to. She found love in her work, in her charity foundations for girls who couldn't afford school, and in the quiet evenings sitting with her father, laughing about old times. Sometimes, she would look at the scar on her wrist where the zip ties had been. It was a reminder that people will judge you. They will humiliate you. They will try to steal your joy and your worth. But you must never let them define you, because you never know. The person you are laughing at today might be the one signing your paycheck tomorrow. Adanna Bennett was no longer the humiliated bride. She was the Iron Queen, and she lived happily ever after on her own terms. Thank you for watching this incredible story. If you learned that true strength comes from within, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded of their worth. See you in the next story.